Hey, you know, I'm thinking there's less glare at night. Anyhow, right, so I've had a couple emails. Hi. And I'm so sorry I haven't been making videos. I am overwhelmed. The state of the world is so terrifying, depressing, heartbreaking, just a little too much sometimes to take. And I sit down to make a video. I've made a few with mistakes, and so they're just sitting in my unpublished cache or cache, whatever you want to call it, of videos. Born to die an early death, late death, no death, I don't know. They're just going to sit there because I'm not going to publish them. So indeed, I shall try again with this one. Sure. So I've had a few emails with requests for a what happened on my getaway, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't a vacation, okay? Let's get one thing perfectly clear. This was no vacation. Now, you know I hate flying. I hate airports. And I have very good reason why. Because every single time this exact same thing happens to me, oh, let me tell you all about it. Just talking about it gives me anxiety. So, my kids came to pick me up. And they were a little late. And I couldn't get through to them on their phones. And so I ordered a Lyft. And then they came. And then I canceled the Lyft. And then I was charged $4 for canceling the Lyft. Even though I just ordered it and no one had even answered the call, they still charged me. So there was that, and I get nervously into the vehicle, and I travel very light, one bag that I don't have to pay for, personal item. I shove everything in there. I'm not going to do that anymore. No. I'm going to start believing in the science of opulence. Indeed, if I ever fly again, and big if on that one, not only am I going to order a seat with extra leg room, I am going to pay for a checked-in bag. I have had it. I'm too old to manage these things, and I shall explain. So we get to the airport, and Maggie comes in with me. Well, she actually leaves me off at the door because I'm not walking real well at that time, and still. And I have my cane, and I'm crippling in there, and I get in line. The line is forever. Forever and a day, okay? And thank God I have my little chair cane in which you can put the cute little seat down and then just kind of like straddle it and hold on to the little handle. So I look like I'm riding a hobby horse without the horse's head. Yeah, I won't say anything about the horse's arse. We won't talk. So, yeah. And then Maggie says, Mom, she comes in, she has my bag. Let's get in this line here. It says it's preferred whatever. I said, I don't think they prefer me. So she stands in that line and I stand in mine, and she gets up front, and they said, yes, indeedy, if she's handicapped, she can, disable whatever. She can come this line. So Maggie waves me over and I get there. Clearly it is on my ticket that I am requesting wheelchair assistance. Of course, at the Tampa airport. So they give me a wheelchair. They put my bag under the wheelchair. And we sit. And sit. And sit. Yes, and sit. 20 minutes later, a woman comes along, but there's 3 ahead of me. And I said, "Are you the only one doing this, hon?" "Yes," she says, "and I've been doing it all morning, since 6 this morning." I said, "Oh." She says, "I'll be back." And I'm like, "When?" "I'm not sure," she says. She says, "You know, if you want, you can wheel you can wheel your own wheelchair to the gate. It's not that far." So after sitting there for another 10 minutes, I say to Maggie, "I'm going for it. The gate's not that far," she says, "and I want to get through the security thing. I just want that out of the way, okay? They're going to make me take off my shoes. Then I'm going to have to put my shoes back on, and I can barely bend over, and there's no help." So I take my little bag and I stick it on top of the seat of the wheelchair, and I wheel and drag, wheel and drag, wheel and drag my frickin' leg along. Till, of course, I get to the lady at the security. She said, she looks at the wheelchair, she looks at the bag. "Are you in a wheelchair?" I said, "Not quite. I do have the wheelchair, and I am here. Let's get this done with." So she gets me through, and of course something goes wrong, and they don't like my bag or what's in it. Something suspicious is in there. It happened to be a Ziploc bag of mango pieces, dried. But I guess it looked like something rather suspicious. So they take me aside, and they take my mangoes aside, and I'm sitting there, standing there waiting, and I say, "I have to sit down now." And so I take my little cane, and "That's all right, ma'am. We're just going to go through your bag." I said, "Have fun." I said, "Just don't eat my mango, because I can see it on the screen. I know what it is." And my shoes are gone. Where are my shoes? Got my bag. And now my wheelchair's gone. Where the hell is my wheelchair? Well, anyway, I finally get a wheelchair, my cane, my bag, my mangoes, and my shoes. And with shoes in hand and stuff shoved everywhere and bag all lopsided, I push and limp out of the, thing, and over to a seat. Now, I have to pee something awful at this point, okay? And so I take my wheelchair, and it's like, "Don't leave your bag anywhere." What? Don't leave your bag anywhere, because security will come and take it and then detonate it in a unknown area somewhere in the airport. Not really, but I'm just, embellishing. So, yeah. So I need to go to the bathroom. I'm barefoot. I'm holding my sneakers. My cane and my bag is on my wheelchair, and I'm trying to go and push and limp and push, sneakers in hand. I finally just stop and sit, and I'm like, "Don't piss your pants. Don't piss your pants. Just don't piss your pants." I didn't. I got my shoes on rapidly, and then I limped as fast as I could, pushing my little wheelchair, and it wasn't little, okay? And I took it right into the ladies' room. And I say to the woman, who doesn't speak English, "I need to leave this here." And she's saying something and shoving me into a stall. And I did get to go. And then I come out. And thank God, my stuff is still there, and she's there, and I thanked her. I can't remember if I gave her a few bucks or what, but I washed my hands, took my wheelchair, and I wheeled myself to the gate. And I found a place to sit. And boy, was I awfully glad to sit. I then took out my mangoes and started to chew on those. The mangoes of suspicion. So now they've changed the gate number. They always change the gate number. So I go over. I don't really go over because I'm limping really bad and all my stuff is there and you're not allowed to leave it. So I yell over across the rows of seats, "Did you just say you changed the gate?" "Yes, ma'am. It's now gate, I said, "I need someone to wheel me. I just wheeled myself. I can't. How far do I have to wheel my own wheelchair?" And he shows me this ramp that looks like a ride on Universal Studios. I said, "You're joking, right?" "No, ma'am." "I need help. I can't push myself that far." "Yes, ma'am, we'll get you someone." So I'm watching him and, section A and section B and the pre-section and the post-section and the after-section and Z-section. Finally, he sends someone over and says, blah, 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 in a language I don't understand. And this nice little man who couldn't speak English comes and pushes me away around the rows of seats to the gate and leaves me there. Just leaves me there. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting here in my wheelchair finally, and I have no idea what happens next. No idea. So there's a lady, behind the little podium or whatever you want to call it, and there's the door that goes up, and I never saw anything like it. Who would do such a thing? You could have probably fit 500 people on those ramps. Maybe they were expecting a very large flight. Anyhow, a nice young man finally comes, and he said, "Are you ready to go on the plane?" "Yes," I say. And so he starts, and bless his heart, and I'm thinking to myself, my bag is probably 35 pounds. I'm a good 200, and I feel so bad for this young man who's going and going, and then we turn a corner because it's like a hairpin turn, and then he's going and going, and then we turn another corner, and he's going and going. We finally reach the top, and we go a little bit more, and then we got to go down this aisle that has the big, Star Wars thing. Dun, 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 dun. And finally we make it to the plane door opening. And I said to him, "Thank you so, so much. Have you been doing this all day?" "Yes," he said. I said, "I believe it because I had to push myself to security." "What?" I said, "Yeah, there was nobody. I had to push my own wheelchair." I said, "I want to give you a tip." "Oh, thank you, ma'am." So I'm digging around in my bag and trying to find my little Ziploc bag. That's where I put all my credit cards and my cash. Don't ask why, okay? Just don't ask why. And I find it, and I give him a $10 bill because I feel so bad for this young man. And since I saved $5 on the first wheelchair person who never wheeled me, I was going to give him both. Because that was an astronomically long haul to push my fat, you-know-what, up, up, up. Well, the stewardess loved me because of that. She said something, and I said, "Well, I'm practicing, what did I say? Oh, I had my book in my hand, The Science of Getting Rich. And she said, well, with kindness like that, I'm sure you'll make it. And so I got to sit down third seat back. And it did have a little extra leg room. I think it's because the way the seats were situated, or it didn't at all. I don't know. She took my bag and she put it up above, and I said, thank you, God. I don't have to sit smushed trying to. That's why I felt like extra leg room, because there wasn't a bag in front of my feet. So finally I'm on the plane, and I am so grateful. And I open my bag of mangoes and I eat a couple more. Yeah. Just because I'm grateful. I think I ate an apple somewhere along the way. I had some nuts in there too, so I'm munching on those. It's lunchtime. I'm tired from pushing my own wheelchair. So, yeah. So finally we get to flying, and then is the horror show of arriving. Yes. We arrive, and the woman says, after everybody else is off, someone will come and get you in a wheelchair. And indeed, somebody did, and he could speak English, and I was like, yes, I'm going to get to Bonnie's one way or the other. Now, Bonnie was not in North Carolina at the time. She was flying from Denver back to, it wasn't Winston Salem. She was flying somewhere else, and Mitch, her boyfriend of 3 years, was going to pick her up and take her home. Or take her to her car, or something like that. I think he had her car at his place, which is in Raleigh-Durham. She flew into Raleigh-Durham, got her car, spent some time with Mitch, and drove home. That's how it was. Raleigh-Durham, got it. So, meanwhile, the guy who could speak English and wheeled me out of the plane dumped me in the middle of the hall. So I'm sitting there in my wheelchair thinking, why me? I'll be back, or someone will be back. Really? Am I going to have to push myself again? Because this looks like a really long haul this time. I get the non-English speaking wheelchair pusher. She dumped me off in the wrong place, and I still tipped her $5. I didn't know you were supposed to tip the people that push your wheelchair. I thought it was just, one guy kind of pretty much put it straight. You tip! You tip! So I knew after that was the second time I landed in Winston-Salem and had a non-English speaking wheelchair pusher. He also left me in the exact same place. I'm like, and suddenly I'm alone, sitting in a wheelchair, in departures instead of arrivals. I told her, I need an Uber, I need a Lyft, I need a taxi. And she leaves me in departures. There's nobody on that floor. Nobody. I don't know where arrivals are. Is it downstairs? Is it very far from downstairs? Do I start pushing my own wheelchair? Yes. I started pushing my own wheelchair. And I realized I was getting nowhere fast. So I park the wheelchair. I grab my stuff. I go out the door that is for people coming in because they're departing and not arriving. I'm somewhere on a second floor, but I do see numbers, so I know what I'm talking about. And I order a Lyft. I've boycotted Uber, long story. So I've ordered a Lyft, and I'm waiting. And waiting. And the little thing comes up on my phone, and it says, your driver has arrived. No, that's not him. No, that's not him either. And so I get a phone call. And I start explaining to the man who cannot speak English on the other line, who was going to be my Lyft driver, what happened. No English. No English, I said. No English. And he hung up on me. Next thing I know, my phone is ringing about 5 minutes later. Hello? Are you waiting for a Lyft driver? Yes, I am. He says, you gotta go down to Arrivals. I said, I can't. I'm handicapped and they left me off at the wrong place and I can't walk. Oh, all right. I'm gonna talk to the driver. Where exactly are you? And I told him exactly where I was, the door, the number, the letter, I described it all. And about 10 minutes later, what was his name? I don't know, it was hard to pronounce. He come up and he got out of the car and he put my bag in the trunk. And I got in and I started talking to him in English. You know how that went. So then I was just quiet and looking out the window, thinking about how much I hate airports, thinking about how much I don't want to go back into that airport as long as I live. When finally about 30 to 40 minutes later, we arrive, and I'm pretty sure where I'm supposed to go is over there, but he takes me over the other side, and I said, no, that way, and he seemed to understand, and so he turned and he brought me there. Yes, right here. And he let me out, and he gave me my bag, and I gave him a tip. There was a lot of tipping going on. I gotta tell you, it's a horror story, the amount of tipping you have to do when you're, having mobility issues and everybody has to cater to your needs. And so I then took my cane and my bag and my purse, and I'm dragging my you-know-what to Bonnie's door. And I looked under the mat or whatever, and there was the key, and then I had to fiddle with that, and I finally get in, and I sit down on the couch, and I said, thank you, God. Thank you. I'm never flying ever again. But then I remember that Bonnie's going to Colorado, and if I ever want to see her again, I'm probably going to be flying again, because I know that my van, meanwhile, is being collected by Brett, my mechanic, who proceeded to take my van to his shop. He picks it up for me. Don't ask me why. He takes my van to his shop. Maybe the shop doesn't exist. I really wouldn't know. I've never been there. And parks my van, and while working on another car ahead of me, broke his ribs. Broke his ribs. Michael says to me, when I said, this is after I get home and I'm at their house, and he says, where's your van? And I said, Brett has it. What's he doing to it? Nothing, because he broke his ribs the moment after he my van to his garage. And Michael says, is that van cursed? Could be, I said. So now I'm at Bonnie's house, and Bonnie arrives, and I could see the look on her face, okay? She's been crying, and she starts crying, and she cried quite a bit while I was there. She had broken up with her boyfriend of 3 years, and she loved him. He loves her. She still loves him. But they're going in different directions, and they want different things. What are you gonna do? I say to her, which is really totally stupid to say, I hope in the future you make sure you really know what this guy wants and is, you've got the same. And Mom! Okay. So, yeah, she did a lot of crying. And then I'm thinking, give me a drawer and I'll start packing. And she says, the next day, of course, she gives me her bed, bless her heart, and she sleeps on the couch. She gives me her bed. Now, she was supposed to have her wisdom teeth removed the very next day. And I was going to care for her and help her, and then she was going to recover and start packing, but that's not at all what happened. They messed up her appointment, and now it was on Friday. So I said, give me a drawer and a box and I'll start packing. And she said, no, Huh? What do you mean, no? She said, I have to go through it. This is personal. I'm sorting. Goodwill, Colorado. Goodwill, Colorado. I say, I can't do that. She said, yeah, I know. I said, okay, what am I doing? So I made custard. And I watched a lot of Netflix. Virgin River. Until I just couldn't take the ridiculousness of it anymore. Nobody has those many problems in one day, okay? Nobody. Nobody is that stupid either. But I kept watching it. I think I got to the middle of the second season and I could take it no more. And so then I started watching old movies again because that's kind of what I do. Yeah. Apartment life is everything I knew it would be. Very comfortable, extremely convenient, temperature controlled. Walmart comes right to my door with my groceries and I sign. It is so predictable every single day. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about my vacation. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, at Bonnie's, I really should have maybe rented a car. Where am I going to go all by myself? I can barely walk. So I'm biding my time. We went out a couple times, once for breakfast. I think we did a lunch somewhere. And then there was that incredible, my heart. The Penny Path Cafe. If you are ever in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, you have to go to the Penny Path Cafe. They have crepes, not just crepes, okay? They have crepes. And I got this one full of berries, and this crepe was this freaking big, but by the time they finished folding it, it was about that freaking big. And covered, it's stuffed with berries, fresh berries. It's piled with berries, fresh berries. It's covered in their house cream. Oh, now I gotta tell you, I'm not sure if I tasted anything, but I imagined I did. Every bite was just so incredible. And when Bonnie leaned over and started cutting pieces of my crepe, because this was well after she had her wisdom teeth out and she's not allowed to have seeds. She was just looking for anything other than the seeds, the cream and the juice with the crepe. I wanted to slap her hand or stab her with my fork. And so the guy comes over after, we're done, and he says, can I get you anything else? I said, yeah, another one of these. Oh, so good. Oh, it was so good. Bonnie had this other one. It was savory. I don't do savory, no. If I'm going to have a crepe, it's going to be loaded with berries and their house cream, okay? Oh, I've been thinking of those crepes ever since. And I know I can't duplicate them. These people came from Germany and they know what they're doing, okay? Wow, or they're Bavarian or something, I can't remember. Big long history of this beautiful old building and how it was an iron foundry or something. And they said, oh, I wish I could show you the back room, but it's the kitchen and his workers in there. And they get mad at me because I'm like, I love this place. I love the architecture. I love that wall. I love this. I love that. Those windows, that door, I just love antique architecture. I'm really talking here, aren't I? Holy moly. It's going to cut me off. This is going to be part 1. Part 2's coming. Bye.